So I stopped my last video. I had to get my cat to stop shaking and baking in his litter box because it's really annoying. It really is. So I don't think there's anything else to say besides with this healing. And I'm sorry that I had to cut that other video off. This is a continuation of the community, temple path patience, your crown chakra, wearing a hat, door to personal healing and happiness. It's like we only got that far because there's so much energy that wants to come through. And I don't want to be going over my limits anymore. Like I want to have videos that you continue to watch like a storybook, is that you turn a page to instead of sitting there for like hours, because sometimes if it's juicy enough, people stay. But if the story is kind of boring, no one's really wanting to sit there and listen to someone talk about their energy and how they feel them through the screen, right? Or their souls and their ghosts, spirits, ghouls, you name it, come forward and allow me to receive messages for you while I'm reading a message for someone else or a collective. Like this is a collective reading, so all the energies are waiting at the door, so to speak, for you to open it, so that when you read the cards, you can get all these messages coming in for a whole bunch of different people. So whoever's like looking for answers, sometimes the whole messages are the answers, right? What messages do you seek as a collective, and what do you look for in a reader and a reading? What messages are they sending to you? Because if you're tapping into their energy, they're also tapping into yours, right? Right? I've got the TV on. Excuse me. My apologies. Usually I have like the live sound behind me, either like the ocean going or the fire. The fire, especially in the wee early mornings where it's still cold out and everybody's still sleeping, and since it's winter, the sound makes you feel warm. Even if you don't have a fire, you still have that calmness, right? The sounds and the crackling, and that's super nice sometimes. Some people might find that really irritating, but I don't know anyone that doesn't like a nice crackling warm fire. Like there's so many good memories of that for myself, and I'm sorry that you didn't have that experience, but perhaps instead of hating on someone that had a really good experience with little fires and like the crackling noise, is that you can reach out to them and go for like a little backyard weenie roast or burgers or marshmallows. I've noticed a lot of people don't do that anymore, and that's a shame. It really is, because then you can also do pizza out there. If you put like a little pizza oven right outside from a fire pit, but you can still have like a nice fire pit. Why doesn't anyone do that? Right? You could cook your pizza at home, right? And that would encourage the housewives to like making more like food. Yeah, my nose gets itchy from messages, so it's not like we're nose pickers, but maybe some of us are, right? Like my son, a long time ago said, so I learned on, and this is a story for someone, so pardon me and pardon us. My son had said, so if you're pricking your nose, wouldn't you be pricking your brain cells to be getting smarter? Or does it help you with, if you're picking the bacteria that your body's collecting, it's like some people eat it, right? I've seen that when I was driving. People think that they're invincible when they're in their vehicles. So like no one else can see, and it's like you're driving down the road, someone's like really like digging. Maybe it's a gold digger. But maybe if you eat it, are you prepping your body for the already microbes in whatever is trapped in there, and then you pick it and you eat it, and you're already containing a virus that, right? That's the same thing if someone was sick, right? And then you like right? And then little do you know, that's, you know, how you get sick at restaurants. You can't control, someone doesn't have a nasal tray, right, over their nose when they're sick. So if it runs and they bend over and boop, right? How do you know, right? I worked in a kitchen. I worked at the Prince George Hotel. I've seen behind the scenes, you know. I have stories of like my fucking coworkers back when I was young, and seeing them doing cocaine on the fucking line, like literally on the line cooking because they're a fucking cook for the hotel. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I gotta say something. So Chef Ray Bear, I go to him and I say, you know, blah, blah, blah. And of course, you know, they're looking for the ratter outer. And I'm like, but think of all the lawsuits the company could get if those people that you're serving food to have a reaction to whatever fucking drug you're just snorting up your nose. You know, I'm not thinking about you. I'm thinking about the people that you're cooking for. It's like, how fucking dangerous is that? And then the only other person, instead of going to my boss and saying, listen, I blah, 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 because he was a loser. He was a pig. And for a woman to be working at that time, where the men still think that they've got the rights to be touching women, touching their butt when they're bending over, and they're in ridiculously fucking tight suits and aprons, and they're like, oh hey, by the way, you gotta unbutton a little bit and show a little bit to get that attraction. I'm like, no, it's someone's character and how you respect them and treat them. It was like Nickelback came into the hotel and they shut down Geo, right? Just to thinking that they're big rock stars. And no one in Nova Scotia gave a shit about Chad Kruger. And I personally fucking delivered food to that presidential suite that we had. Yeah, he was a dick. And same with his ex-wife, the blonde bimbo. She was really rude. His brothers, though, oh my God, really amazing people. So, you know, the ego went to his head, definitely. Well, I'm the singer. I have the talent. I'm like, well, look at you now. Aren't too cocky, are you? I met you. So, you know, I have that story. You know, just meeting Tom Selleck in that elevator at the Prince George Hotel. Okay, this is going to be about me because you're listening to my stories now. So I worked at the Prince George Hotel, right? And I started out at housekeeping, so I could housekeep, coming from like the Fairmount Banff Springs and knowing how to do, you know, that type of training at Prince George Hotel. I really like Prince George Hotel. Those times were super fun and I met amazing people. But I went through shit and hell as well, right? It's like that pivotal time in your life. But back to my story with Tom Selleck. I was graduated from like housekeeping and then into like service, like a bellboy, right? And I had to keep all the common areas clean, you know, spotless. I did an amazing job. And I remember they had brass elevators. Oh God, I don't know if they still have them or not, but oh geez. you touch them and they'd leave a mark. And that's where I'd spend pretty much the majority of my day, is in those two elevators, going back and forth, cleaning the hand marks off of the elevator. And one evening, I wasn't really paying attention. I was actually supposed to be, or it was a day or whatever, whatever time it was. I was in an elevator and I was doing actually a lot of jobs. I could be called back to doing housekeeping or concierge, catering, room service. I was doing a little bit of everything in the hotel, which is great because you're a well-rounded individual that can do everything that someone could call upon you. So you're definite an asset because you're willing to do something that isn't your job because you've done it previously. How awesome and amazing opportunities is that, right? So back to my story with Tom Selleck. Called in to have the elevators cleaned because they were dirty. So I go in there and I'm like, they are dirty. Like, finish one elevator from like everything. You walk in there, everything is brass. Everything. Even the buttons. Every surface is brass. And you got marks everywhere. And I'm like, oh God. And so you're like rubbing. And it's like maybe the back was glass, but that was bad enough because there was a bar across from it. And then it would lead down to like, it would be a wood bar. I'm like, I think that was the only thing, or maybe it was all brass. I don't, but anyways, I'm on my hands and knees and I'm not seeing who is in the elevator with me. I'm just scrubbing away, I'm minding my own business because I have to get the elevator clean. There's someone that was of great importance coming into the hotel that day, and they wanted the elevators to look beautiful. And as I'm scrubbing away, this voice, because there was two people that walked in, this voice said, I guess I shouldn't be touching the elevator. And I'm like, no, sir, you shouldn't. And as I'm standing up, I realize it's Tom Selleck and his hairdresser. And I'm like, oh my God. I just, told off Tom Selleck. I was so shocked. I was so appalled as well about my behavior. I'm like, I'm sorry, Mr. Tom Selleck. Oh my God, I am so sorry. It was the greatest experience, and it wasn't necessarily starstruck, but it was such an awesome exchange that I can say that happened to me, right? And then that evening, I was mainly in room service, and doing a little bit of the breakfast in the morning, like behind the scenes, getting things ready, or going up into the hotel and delivering, so room service, and meeting all these different people. It's cool. So back to Tom Selleck's story, and he's ordered some really weird concoctions for breakfast, and then it would be kind of normal stuff during. Yeah. I can't tell the secrets. I'm sorry, but I remember bringing his breakfast up, and not really knowing who was actually in the rooms. Like, it could be a fake name, it could be a false name. I don't. But then because it was under his hairdresser's name, right? It was. So me not realizing who's actually in the room, and then he opens up the door, and the guy turns around, right? And he's in his wardrobe, and he's tall. Like, I'm 6'1", and I have to literally look up. I'm like, wow, like, you are a lot bigger in person. And he's standing there with a big hairy chest in his house coat, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, I'm so sorry, Mr. Selleck, blah blah blah. And he's like, no, Don't call me Mr. Selleck. Call me Tom. Oh, it was quite a fun experience. So thank you, Mr. Selleck. Thank you, Tom Selleck, for that experience. You know, even if he has passed on, his energy is still there, and it's still reliving within inside of me. So that energy still can get to him wherever he is, right? Cool, awesome stories like that. I bet you didn't realize that I am someone that you've never really met. I'm not some kind of boring individual. I'm actually telling you my stories, things that are pretty cool. So is this Mr. Tom Selleck here? He has money, but that could be anyone, right? So those are my stories, right? And I've got so many more. When I worked at the Banff Springs Hotel, all about the ghost stories. Oh yeah, totally, all about the ghost stories. Totally. I know them. I've been there. So, you know, there's a purpose why I really don't go into hospitals or things that people have died in, because the attachments are real and they follow you home. The energy is real from each individual person, even though that they died, and their energy wishes to stay there. So in another 100 years, the stories of that hotel will continue, because that's the stories that were told down by many generations prior to, or people that come in for like ghost adventures, goes to Canada and goes to Fairmont Banff Springs and try to see if they can find the little girl's face in the window on the 8th floor where her father hacked her to pieces. Two girls. Remember the movie The Shining? Yeah. I wondered if that happened in a lot of hotels or if it just happened in the Fairmont Banff Springs. Because there's no other hotels that you hear of that I've heard of besides the Fairmont Banff Springs that has happened to. And there's so many other things. Like, I literally had an experience there at Fairmont Banff Springs. I was a housekeeper. I found the ad where they would give you a job in Alberta, in Banff, Alberta. So I was the East Coast gal going to Alberta to Banff to work at Fairmont Banff Springs, because people in Alberta didn't want to work for $18 an hour. But on the East Coast, that's like, holy shit, you're making really good money. Like, wow. Because the minimum wage back then was like $6 an hour. So can you imagine what that feels like to someone that earns less money than you? You're going to jump at that chance and that opportunity. So I jumped on that opportunity and I went to Banff, Alberta to work at the Fairmont Banff Springs. And the experiences that I've had there, right? It's real, right? And I don't really want to dare go into hotels that are haunted anymore. So I can see and feel the energy, and the ghosts talk to me, right? Or something bad happens, like at the Fairmont Banff Springs, right? I just reminded myself, because I'm like, where was I going with this story, right? The story is, I went into, in The Shining, where they talk about the woman in room 273. Yeah, that's fucking real too. Fairmont Banff Springs. You didn't fucking tell me about that, did you? No, and that happened to me, except it wasn't around my neck. It was on my back where my tattoo is. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And back then we didn't have, phones that we could flip out and like text and whatnot. No, there was no phones. Like, they were just coming out. They were just coming out, because that was like 2001, maybe something like that. 2002, something around those lines. So it was just coming out, it's just the technology. So being at the hotel and cleaning the rooms, and in The Shining, right, the boy comes out going, oh my God, oh my God, you did this too. And then he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going crazy. Right? And then he goes in and then realizes that he sees this beautiful woman like move the curtain out of the way in the movie. It's like in the movie of The Shining, right? So since I've been in that room, I can tell you what it looks like in the Fairmont Banff Springs. And if someone wants to like, oh yeah, I don't think so, and they're gonna go to 273, I'd suggest that you don't. Okay, that is not a room to fuck around in. Like, it's from someone that's spiritual. Don't go to that room. All right, they can't change it either because it's an old castle. Okay. Like the stones, they can't move the work. They can change the bathroom, but back then they had the colors of pink and green. Like the green, I'm gonna tell you the layout, okay? And then someone can challenge me on that, and I dare you. I dare you to fucking challenge me on that. And if they changed it, well then, I owe you an apology. But I have a feeling that they haven't changed any of the rooms. And why would they? It's all made out of stone anyways. Right? That's where the queen would go for her little vacations to get away from life. She went to the Fairmont Banff Springs. And I fucking made her bed. Yeah. So anyways, this room 273, in the movie it's depicted like, just like you open up the doors on a flat line, right? And it's open and it's big. That's not necessarily the case at Fairmont Banff Springs. When you open 273, you are greeted with a closet, a mirrored fucking closet. So you scare yourself as you go into that room. There's not enough room, and there's 2 doorways. To the right is the bathroom, right? That layout is there. To the left, you have a little hallway and then stairs, like 20 set of stairs to go down. And they're not like deep stairs like that. It's like a flight of stairs. And if you misstep, you're going for a bum ride down straight into like a wall. And there's no little windows. There's a tiny little window, a little port window, right, on one side. That is the only light in there, natural light. And it's scary as shit because you're going around in a dark cave. Basically, you're in like a dark cave dungeon. And the bed is so squeezed into that area that you can't even sleep in there. You can't even, it's like literally this wide from the wall. I'm like, how the fuck are you supposed to sleep here? Let alone things that are touching you while you're trying to remake the bed. And then you're getting freaked out, even though that you have like lamps beside you or like hanging from the wall. That is not enough light to see the shadows run back and forth in that fucking room. And I'm like, I'm out of here, man. Like, this is too much. Like, oh my God. And when you're a housekeeper, you got to go up the stairs, down the stairs, up the stairs. There's no like, that was the workout. You had to be fit to work at the Fairmont Banff Springs back then when I was doing it. I don't know what it's like now. I probably have the same feelings as before, but I'm sure everything would have changed. But anyways, back to my story. I get out there, finish the bed. I'm like, no, I'm out. I'm fucking out. And now I'm like, great. Now I got the bathroom that I have to clean. And you go in, and there's like the sinks that they're kind of floating, but they have metal pipes going straight down. And they've kept it all open, and it's a big open. And you've got the bathtub there, and you got the toilet and the bidet on one side. And then you just got this really long, weird tiled bathroom. And of course, you had to be on your hands and knees and do the initial sweep And then you had to do like different sweeps to get all the hair and the dirt. But that was our protocols, like on our hands and knees, sweeping the floors with our hands and the wet rag as the last step, right? So that if the mirrors are done, the garbage is out, blah, 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 blah. You're getting that all done. You're making sure that everything is like super clean. So the next person that goes in there, they've got a clean room, right? So me on my hands wiping the path, and I feel something. I'm like nearing the door, nearing the fucking door of exiting, right? Because I'm not thinking anything of it, and I wasn't thinking anything of it, and my back started burning, like really bad, like it was like being branded by something hot and cold at the same time. Yeah. And I had a demonic hand, and I apparently a demonic hand, a really super long hand with nails on my back, right where my tattoo is. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And I pick it, like I trying to look at it. I'm like, why is there like, and it was like a purple pinky hue color, right? A little bit of blue, but it was more like a purpley pink like mark on the back. And it was like a woman's old hand. And I asked my friend Emily, and I'm like, Emily, like what the hell? And she's like, oh my God, you need to go see someone at the, oh my God. And I'm like, she started fucking freaking me out. So I go to the housekeeping office, and I'm like, I just had an experience, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, yes. And I showed them where I got this. I'm like, what room were you in? And I'm like, 230, 237. And they're like, yeah, we should have told you. Right? They should have told me that is in there. So yeah, that energy is real. And the way that bathroom and the suite is laid out, it's a little bit crazy, right? The people are like, oh yeah, but you know, it's like no one advertises 237, right? It's a different layout, but if you want, you know, marks on your body, she will give you a mark somehow. And I think the lady that left that room had an experience, or there's something that happened there, right? They talk about Sam the bellboy, where he's still dressed in his time period, and people that go to the Fairmont Banff Springs will often see him there, and he looks like you and me, right? Looks right, and he'll help you with your bags to your room, and when you turn around, like his bag, your bags will be in there. Hold on. So, you know, your bags will be in your room, and as soon as most people turn around for like mere seconds, they will actually see that he disappeared, and people will go down to the front desk, and they'll say, you know, oh, there was a gentleman, his name is Sam, right? Sam, you know, I want to give him a tip for helping me with my bags. And the front office, the front desk actually has to tell people that Sam's been dead now for so long, that he still resides in the hotel. And they're like, what? And they're like, yeah. They've got a really cool museum there too. Yeah. Like, you can go in and explore. You can, I'm sure, walk through the hallways. But I don't know if they changed that or not. But hopefully they kept it alive and well, that you could tour in the hotel without having to stay there, because that's certainly like a landmark. People go there to actually like see and feel the experience of knowing that these stories actually exist, and people have actually gone through those experiences and those stories that live on. And then people are like, really? That really happened to you? And they're like, yeah, that totally fucking happened to me. Right? This is a totally different tarot reading that you didn't expect, right? That's what keeps it alive. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up. I was just gonna like cut it off, and I'm like, nah, I think they deserve just a rewrap. Right, rewrap on the information here. Community, temple path, patience, 7th chakra, door to personal healing and happiness, man holding a coin, woman holding a heart, action, walking away, your 4th chakra, and cornucopia. So basically you're on the right path to be like healing yourself. Like just keep on going with what you're doing. You're doing a great job. So just continue like having a shield over your heart, in the sense that you're healing it, but you're not blocking out new love. Okay, because when you heal yourself and you have that time and patience to go in the direction you're using your higher self, your higher intuition, and therefore you heal yourself, and the door to personal, individual healing. You're walking away from what bullshit what no longer serves you, and taking action on the things that you need to be taking action on, and it could go in either direction, right? And in the end, when you do the hard work, you know, from any aspect that you choose, you receive the abundance that follows along with it. Everything will come in due time. Just keep onto your higher path. It's a very good read. Heart space healing can just keep on doing the right things that you've been doing. Congratulations. This is a really good read. See you on the next one.